Kayvon Thibodeaux came to Oregon's campus as the top-rated recruit in America in 2018. As a freshman, he's fighting for a starting job, but to him, the game means more than just points on the scoreboard. KEZI 9 sports producer Ronald Clark sat down with Kayvon earlier this summer to talk about the freshman's goal to change his family dynamic.
Sitting down with Kayvon Thibodeaux. Thank you for joining us, Kayvon. Let's just get into it. So when you first spoke to the media for your first time here, you made headlines talking about your tattoo, the Chosen One tattoo, and what that meant to you and what it means to, better your situation for you and your family. What was going through your mind when you said that, and what does that truly mean to you?
I mean, I don't really think it was really coming from my mind, more my heart and just my experiences. Life is unpredictable, and for me, I've been trying to make it as predictable as possible for myself. And when I say that, I mean, I'm trying to, I have a goal, I have a mission, to go to the NFL and to, change the dynamic of my family. So really, it's just the way it is. It's not because I had a dream about it. It's not because, this and that. It's just reality,
Where does that ambition come from?
The struggle. Everybody has some type of struggle, some type of trials and tribulations in their life. And for me, it's always been, being behind the curve, being behind the norms of society, as in, living in poverty or living in the minority communities and, just growing up the way that they assume kids in the ghetto grow up.
You talked about it a little bit, but coming from, South Central, me coming from Inglewood as well, I can relate to this. And the mindset of, you grow up learning that there's only three things of ways that, you make it in the hood. You either you gangbang, you play ball, or you do or sell drugs. How did you stray from those other two paths and lead you to here?
Well, my mother she played a big part. I was always busy. I never really hung out. It was never like, I didn't really go to all the parties. I didn't do all of that. I was always in the house or, playing video games or playing football. She made sure that I stayed out of situations she didn't want me in, so that really saved my life.
But obviously still coming from that area, you're no stranger to what is going on out on the streets. How did you kind of, and obviously everyone from that area has friends that are associated, and whether by choice or not, you just happen to bump into people that you deal with that and you come across. How did you kind of, keep on that straight path and lead you to here and not go down the path that some maybe of your own friends might have gone down?
Well, I guess one good thing for me is like the hype and the media and all the attention started coming really young. Really when I was like a sophomore in high school, so I knew, and everybody around me knew that, football was my opportunity and football was, my way. And I had people around me that really didn't let the outside world get in the way of that, whether it's friends, mentors, coaches. They always made sure that no matter what, I was on the right path. I kept my nose clean. I stayed, doing what I had to do to make it here.
So obviously after your sophomore season, you left Dorsey, and then your family moved to Woodland Hills and you trended Oaks Christian. What motivated that move, and how did you handle that transition?
Well, for me, I was sad. I cried a little bit when my mom told me. She felt that I wasn't being challenged academically enough. And as we all know, city funding and inner city funding school funding, isn't the best. There's no money going into, minority community schools.
You said you cried. What were those feelings? What brought those tears on?
Because for me, you're a product of your environment. You're who you're around. And Dorsey is 50% African-American, 50% Hispanic. And all my friends and all the people that I've known from my community, from my area, I've been around. So now my mom's telling me that she's taking me from my friends, moving, to some far place that I've never been and don't know anybody. It was like, I wasn't ready for it. But then I knew that the opportunity and the connections I will make will be important to my future.
Obviously, we live in a time where athletes are really, at the centerfold of, just being activists and out in the community and speaking up on certain things. You obviously being someone who's very vocal, using your social media and using your platform. Do you feel at this level and the platform that you've, sort of built for yourself, do you feel a sort of sense of responsibility to share, your experience and the things that some people who, didn't grow up in certain areas might not have gone through that we've experienced?
Well, for me, it's not necessarily to educate people. It's honestly just to tell my truth. I live a life where, it is dangerous where, you know, in certain days when I'm in the city, there are situations where it's life or death, or it's, you know, where you get caught in situations that some certain people or a lot of people would never even imagine. You know, they couldn't even fathom of what's, you know, what I go through. So for me, it's just sharing my experience and letting people know, like, this is who I am. You know, we got to talk about, you know, oh, everybody watches who you follow, and, you know, who, well, like you said, friends, people I know are gang members. People I know are living that life that they can't get out of, they're trapped. You feel me? So when people tell me, like, oh, well, watch who you associate yourself with, it's hard for me to, you know, how can you tell me to not associate myself with people that I've grew up with? These people I know, you know, these people, and they weren't blessed with the opportunity I was, and they feel that this is their only way out, or whatever they're doing is, you know, that's all they know. And for me, I got a big opportunity. So if people think I'm gonna leave my people behind because I came and I have a big opportunity, they got it wrong, you know. For me, it's not, my family knows who my family is, whether it's blood or not blood. So for me, it's always about just taking care of your people. So that's what I'm going to continue to do, and I'm just going to continue to share my story while I'm doing it.
So we've got Ronald Clark back in the studio with our analyst to talk a little bit about life beyond the game. Ronald, what struck you the most in talking with Kayvon? Because for me, it was the range of issues that he discussed and how well spoken he was.
Definitely well spoken, but for me, it was just how relatable his story was. And I mean, you guys can attest this. We've seen this play out in the NFL. We've seen it happen with Deshaun Jackson. And George, for you coming from the LA area, I'm sure you can attest to this as well.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I mean, he went to Dorsey High School, which is one of my rival school in high school. I'm going to Manual Arts. And one of the things that is so impressive there is he, at a very early age, realized that he had to, you know, like be intentional about the way that he approached navigating those waters, because it's dangerous. And it, you know, there's a lot of Kayvon Thibodeaux in that area who don't always make it out for a lot of different reasons.
Absolutely, for sure. And I mean, you know, it's dangerous on the outside looking in, but for us, it's just home.
Right.
Juan, for you, you went to private school. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, well, when I sit there and I listen to this young man talk, there's a couple things that I hear. I hear him talking about ambition, parenting, and then education. And going to private school, when I look back on my private school experience, one of the things that I see is just that it really created this pathway for the rest of my life. Not only was it the education, but it was also the interaction with the individuals that we still keep contact with today. And you could hear it in his well-spoken voice of how important education has been for him.
Shemai, and you being a player, you can also attest to this coming from the San Bernardino area. You know, you're also no stranger to what's going on in those type of areas. What was your situation like? How did you make it out?
Oh, most definitely. You know, San Bernardino was very gang riddled. It was always some temptation to go do something that, you know, probably wasn't in my best interest. But like he said, staying active, you know, keeping your mom staying on your back, going back and forth to trainings and trying to get into, you know, extra lifting sessions, that definitely keeps you pretty busy.
For sure, and I mean, I think all of us, it can attest, you know, just how important and how far sports can really take us. So we wish Kayvon the best luck this season.